Do I want to make this video? Absolutely not. But do I think we need to make this video? Yeah, I'd be kind of lying if I said that this wasn't in the back of my mind. And I think a lot of Vancouver Canucks fans might actually have this in the back of their mind too. Today we're talking about Vancouver's best defenseman in franchise history. A guy who was taken as a steal of the 2018 draft, a player whom 7 years ago I cheered my head off for when he was drafted by the Vancouver Canucks. Today we're talking about Quinn Hughes and where exactly he could go. And yeah, I hate that I'm saying that, but let's just go out there and read some tweets, shall we? Starting out with what Gary Mason posted about. He, of course, is on the Globe and Mail, and he made this tweet earlier 2 days ago. When the trading of Quinn Hughes happens, and right now it seems inevitable, it will mark the lowest point in the franchise's history. Giving up a generational talent in his prime cannot be viewed any other way. Top reply from Chris Kant says he's the best defenseman this franchise has ever had, maybe ever will have, and if it ever gets to the point where he is traded, that's on Aqua. And this management group doesn't get off scot-free either, because their roster decisions helped back the team into this corner. Now, we can get into semantics. We can talk about whether or not he is the best, he isn't the best, are there more talented Vancouver Canucks players in Canucks history? I'd probably wager a bet and say that it's between Quinn Hughes and Pavel Bure. Those two seem to be the most talented players to have ever donned this hockey team's sweater on their chest. But when it comes to Quinn Hughes, we are talking about the inevitability of him getting traded, and where some folks are going out there and pointing fingers as to where he could go. You had JFresh on Twitter 2 days ago saying this, that if Quinn Hughes did get traded somewhere that wasn't New Jersey, the obvious destination would be Detroit, right? Long-term fit with Sider, lots of cap space for a huge extension, and the package could center around Axel Sandin-Pellikka and Nate Danielson. Now that is quite the interesting thought. Detroit trying to right some wrongs back from that 2018 draft. They had the chance to take Quinn Hughes, and they didn't. They selected Filip Zadina 6th overall, and Zadina, unfortunately, was not really able to become anything at the National Hockey League level. Quinn Hughes is in a tier of his own. He's like 2, 3, 4, 5 tiers. He's an entire tier list above Filip Zadina. Quinn is outstanding, and if Detroit is being labeled as a potential destination, then obviously that is fun and dandy. But it turns out, the Red Wings are probably not the only team that are being tossed into conversations like this. Let's take a look at what Frank Saravalli said on the BR Open Ice show yesterday. Everyone wants to link Quinn Hughes to the Devils, but Frank Saravalli points out there's a familiar coach for the defenseman in Philadelphia. Oh boy, in West Philadelphia, born and raised. Could we see a Quinn Hughes trade to reunite him with Rick Tocchet? Now, I know Vancouver Canucks fans will kind of puke at the thought of that, but you got to remember just where exactly things were with Vancouver and Toc. Quinn loved Toc, and it was quite evident that Toc's his departure from the Vancouver Canucks was a significant hit to a lot of the sort of mindset that some of these players on the Canucks had. They didn't want to see him go, but they understood why he ended up leaving. There's a great relationship there between Quinn Hughes and Rick Tocchet, and I get it. You could say, hey, Frank Saravalli is just a Philadelphia homer. Of course he's going to go out there and say that one of the best guys in the NHL could be traded to his favorite team. But at the same time, I do think that the Quinn Hughes and the Rick Tocchet connection is so strong. We saw even Tocchet talking about Jamie Drysdale earlier on in the year, saying things like, hey, that guy, I think he has the skill set to become a player who can play like Quinn Hughes. Tocchet just couldn't keep Quinn Hughes out of his subconscious because he had the best defenseman in the world at his disposal some nights in Vancouver. Now he doesn't have that in Philadelphia. Obviously, Talk Hockey wasn't that great in the second half of its tenure with the Vancouver Canucks, but Quinn Hughes was one of the band-aids that really helped it just seem a little bit more breathable compared to how it maybe actually was. So, could Philadelphia get some sort of a shot here? Let's go over to another post posted out there by Goat Radio. They posted this on Hockey Twitter yesterday, talking about the best landing spots for Vancouver Canucks D-man Quinn Hughes. Number 1, you've got the New Jersey Devils. Of course, that makes a lot of sense. Number 2, you've got Detroit. Number 3, Philadelphia. Number 4, Chicago. And number 5, the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I'm a secondary Habs fan, so I feel like I have the right to comment on this idea. I do not think that Quinn Hughes going over to Montreal would make any sense. You essentially would be setting yourselves up for the exact same problem that Team USA is going to be having. You get Quinn Hughes, okay, that's nice. Where do you play Lane Hutson? You can't have Hutson and Hughes on the same team because these guys are essentially the same player. Like, you think about the style, you think about the size, you think about the offensive tendencies. These guys essentially play the same game. And I'm not going to sit here and say that more good players is a bad thing. I just kind of wonder that if you have a Hutson getting moved off of the first power play unit, how does that affect his own development long term? You know, like, if Hughes is on Montreal, you would have Quinn as the number 1 power play guy because he is one of the best defensemen in the league. Lane Hutson, you might have to slow his development down because you'd just relegate him to power play 2. And what are you going to do with Noah Dobson at that point? Like, I just don't really think it makes sense for Montreal to get a player whose profile is that similar to Lane Hutson's in Quinn Hughes. But all these other teams, I can see it. I mean, Chicago, imagine Quinn Hughes and Connor Bedard together. Man, I wish it would have been for the blue and green, but imagine how that would look like on the ice with some of these other super hot Chicago Blackhawks forwards as of late. Tyler Bertuzzi is finding backdoors like crazy. Teuvo Teravainen is scoring. Burakovsky, when he's healthy, is scoring. I mean, that Chicago team has just started looking a lot more full of life. I was about to say lifeless, but then I was like, what's the antonym for that? I don't know. Anyways, Chicago, I think, would make a lot of sense here. Philadelphia, if you wanted to run a Drysdale-Hughes pairing like Rick Tocchet would probably do, then hey, maybe there is some dual threat offensive skill that can be untapped out of Jamie Drysdale if he plays with a Quinn Hughes. Detroit, I actually like a lot. Obviously, I'm biased because I'm also a Red Wings fan, and seeing Quinn Hughes head over to Motown with Mo Seider would be totally awesome. Not that Ben Sherratt hasn't been effective, especially as of late. Ben Sherratt's been a lot better, but Quinn Hughes eats the most minutes in the National Hockey League by far. You wouldn't have to worry about overplaying a guy like Ben Sherratt if you had Quinn Hughes on your team anymore. Mo Seider can eat minutes, Quinn Hughes can eat minutes. That would probably be the best D pairing in the league, I would say. Just tossing a comment out there. And then, of course, the New Jersey Devils would be number 1 on a trade destination list for Quinn Hughes. Obviously, there's a reason why. You're not going to make a trade sending Quinn Hughes over to New Jersey, and you're not going to get a Luke Hughes or something in return. I saw some Devils fans on social media saying, oh, like, why is Luke Hughes untouchable in a Quinn Hughes trade? Do you really care that much about the family connection that you would sacrifice the necessary assets to make it work? And I was like, yeah, that's the entire point. They want to play together. It's been mentioned in the media so often. If you trade one Hughes for another, that would defeat the entire point. Like, there's no logical reason in my mind to include a Luke Hughes or a Jack Hughes in any Quinn Hughes trade talk. That is total baloney. So with that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about all this conversation about Vancouver Canucks D-man Quinn Hughes and how folks are saying it's about to happen here soon, man? It's bound. It seems like it is going to go down. And even though it pains me to say that, I can't say that I disagree. So let the speculation station begin. We're going to come out with more Vancouver Canucks trade ideas and updates because, it's been a pretty big idea as of late. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Quinn Hughes and his future. Where does he end the season off, and where does he start the season next year? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Roll 99, and bye.